and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah Chu and this is
Sarah Gets Real.
So, on today's episode, as you can see with my fuss, it didn't begin like this. I actually started out as a naked mole rat, which you will see in a few minutes. But today, we are tackling the topic of friendships, which is a huge topic. We're covering ground about what it means to be a good friend, how to keep friends, how to make friends, which is also really important, how to maintain healthy guy and girl relationships, which is so hard at times, how to recognize a toxic friend, and how to cut off those toxic friends. So lots of ground to cover here, and as well I'll be getting ready for work, putting on all this crepe on my face. And yeah, if you're ready for this ride, let's go. If you want to learn some stuff and hear some scripture verses and just, you know, get it all in your brain, let's do this. So to begin, let's start off with asking, what is a friend? Okay, so according to Google, it says a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations. So a person whom one has a bond with of mutual affection. Interesting. To me, what I would say as a friend is someone who you can depend upon, someone who can build you up when you are down, someone who gives you wise advice when you need it, who gives you a kick in the butt when you need it, who can be honest with you, someone who you can tell secrets to and know that they're not sharing it with anyone else. Things like that. And also this video is going to have some biblical relations and some biblical wisdom, because you know what, I'm 20 years old. I should not be giving you all this advice about friendship. Okay, I've barely had friends in my life. I'm like 20. I'm 20 years old. So this is just stuff that I've learned from my 20 years, but also stuff from the Bible. So moving on from that, so we already covered what is a friend. So now let's talk about how to be a good friend. So you can be a friend all you want, right? But being a good friend is kind of what is important. And I think, I don't know, at the end of my life, when people come to my funeral, I would hope that they would say things like, oh, she was a really good friend, and I just broke my concealer. So that's great. Okay, so how to be a good friend. So from Colossians 3:12-14, it says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. So what that means to me is, I think as a friend, obviously you want to be kind to the other person and you want to respect the other person. And you also want to be gentle with them and patient with them, but the most important thing is to be able to forgive. And what I heard this one time, I think I was listening to a sermon probably from Elevation, and Pastor Stephen Furtick was like, make forgiving a habit. And I was like, whoa, that's so deep. Make forgiving a habit. Forgive well, so forgive completely and forgive often. And you might be saying like, what do you mean forgive? Like, you know, when your friend maybe doesn't pay as much attention to you as you want. Maybe you're going through something bad and instead they're talking about their struggles. Maybe your friend, I don't know, she buys you a present that you didn't want and you were actually thinking of something else, and that's really hurtful to you. Or she gets herself a ticket to see a movie with another friend and not you. Little things like that, forgive. That's how you keep those friendships, is by forgiving that little stuff, or even forgiving the big stuff and having mature conversations and just treating each other with patience and compassion, you know, seeing where the other person is coming from, not just where you're coming from. And I get that you're probably hurt, right? But so are they as people. And so we need to forgive each other and just let grievances go and not hold on to things and not be petty, as is very easy to do in our culture these days, is being petty. But, you know, God tells us to let go of that. And also it says, over all these virtues put on love, which is so important. Love is the key to unity. You know, if you love someone like, for example, your parents, if you love them a lot, you know, they can do a lot of things to you, they can say a lot of things to you, but at the end of the day, because you love them, you'll forgive them, or you won't react and say all these cruel things back to them because you don't want to break that bond. Or you're going to be honest with your friend and you're going to tell her what's on your heart and what's on your mind, because you love that person. And love covers a multitude of sins, is what it says in the Bible. And so yeah, I guess love is super important to being a good friend. So yeah, and also I'd say, okay, so in John 15:12-15, it talks about, my command is this: love each other as I have loved you. So this is from Jesus. So greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And so basically, this verse is not telling you to, like, kill yourself for your friends. It's talking about sacrificial love. And sacrificial love, whew, what a topic. Also its own thing. But that's basically putting their interests, above your own sometimes, and just being selfless. So, for example, if your friend is going through, let's say, financial hard times, right? You can sacrifice some of your hard-earned money to maybe buy them a meal, and show them love in that way. If your friend has had her eye on something she can't afford, so like a highlighter. This is from ColourPop. It is awesome. If she can't afford a highlighter, right? Like picking one up from the drugstore for her, picking her up her favorite bubble tea, can brighten up her day. Things like that. Taking the time out of your day to just message them and be like, hey, what's up? And asking them how they're doing, not just caring about how you're doing yourself, Little things like that matter a lot in friendships, and little things like that also, they refine you as a person. Who do you want to be at the end of your life? Do you want to be someone who's cared for your interests, who looked out for yourself, or do you want to be someone who really cared about their friends and helped, and really cared about wanting other people to grow and growing with them? So yeah, that's that. And also, being a good friend sometimes means telling people straight up what they need to hear. So Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Sometimes being a friend is saying the hard stuff that your friends don't want to hear, or just saying things that, like giving them advice that they dearly need. You know what, this lighting is kind of harsh. There we go. Much better. Sorry about blinding y'all. Or saying things that they don't necessarily want to hear, but things they need to hear. Like if a guy is abusing them, is mistreating them, is not treating them how you think they should be treated, like a decent human being, y'all let them know. No one has the right to abuse another person without, consequences, without getting reprimanded, without facing the facts that they're treating someone terribly. So it's also up to you as a friend to point that out to your friends when you really think that they're being mistreated. Oh, that's something I can go on for hours. But yeah, just trying to be a good person, looking out for your friends a lot. Just caring about them. Just caring about them. Love, love, love above all else. So when you're doing things for your friends, make sure you're doing it out of love and not out of a feeling of obligation or a feeling of like fairness, or like trying to return things that they have done for you. You should do things out of love, and if your motivation isn't love, you're gonna resent them afterwards. So just make sure you are doing things for the right reasons. Okay, so, also, respect people's boundaries. That's also another thing. So respect people's boundaries. What does this mean? Boundaries, another great topic. So if they have emotional walls up, if they don't want to share something with you at this certain point in time, you gotta respect that. Or if they don't want to tell you something about themselves, if they don't want to, I don't know, be physical, as if like give you hugs, if they don't want to show you to their families because maybe, their family is toxic, all these different things, you need to just respect that. And it's hard to respect people's boundaries, but you can't expect other people to respect your boundaries if you don't respect theirs. So make sure that you take their no's as no's and their yeses as yeses. And if a problem does come out, talk it up. Don't keep it inside. Don't just like blow it over and then not talk about it and then suddenly 2 days later just talk about something else. No, get that problem out in the open so it doesn't fester like an open wound and then blow up later. Something I learned: do not keep things to yourself. Fix them. get them out in the open and then fix them. Super important. Okay, let's move on from that. All right, how to make friends. Oh, big topic, y'all. This is so hard from person to person, especially. I know some people out there are introverts, right? Y'all are not super comfortable with just going up to a person and saying hi. But you know, sometimes it can be as easy as looking around you, seeing who is around you. So maybe you're in your first class, or you're at work, or you're even on the bus, man, even on public transportation, looking around you and just see who you want to be friendly with, who you want to approach. Some people have super friendly faces, some people who've even had bad days. It's okay, you can go up to them and just say hi. Because you know, a lot of times when I'm on the bus, or at school, you know, it's the first day, you don't know anyone, and you honestly, there's that part of you know what I'm talking about, where you wish someone came up to you and was just like hi, and you know, they made you feel welcome, like you belonged. Don't wait for that person. Be that person. Be the person that welcomes people, that shows them God's love like the minute that you see them. Be the person who, you know, has something going on. So maybe you have like, I don't know, like a cool party. I'm just thinking of things like maybe you're going to go see a movie like Crazy Rich Asians, which y'all should go watch. Maybe you're gonna go see that movie that weekend. Find someone that you can really vibe with, you know, first day of class, talk to someone, be like, hey, I see we're in the same class, what are you majoring in? Oh cool, I'm watching this movie, would you want to come? Like, you know, just extend the invites to people whenever. You know, they can turn you down. Don't be afraid of rejection. You know, if they reject you, then clearly they don't want to be your friend. Easy peasy. But if you don't go up to them, make that first move, then you'll never know, and then you'll never have that friend. They could turn out to be your best friend. You don't know. Also, join clubs. You know, I've made a lot of friends from church, from Christian groups on campus, even non-Christian groups on campus, just anything. If you find something you're super interested in and you go to a club with people who are also interested in that thing, you will come out with friends. Like when I was in my One Direction stage, yo, whoever didn't like Louis Tomlinson, not my friend. I'm kidding. A lot of people didn't like Louis Tomlinson because they're blind. But point is, common interests, you will find friends. And you know, they might not be your closest friends, they might not be your best friends, but you can't have that expectation going into anything. So just put yourself out there in those clubs and see when you're talking, see who responds back, see who laughs at your jokes. Be their friend, man. What else can you do? You can also, some easy tips for making friends when you're in a new environment: help people out. Be that person that helps someone out. For example, when I went to my new workplace, so I work in a restaurant, for those of you who don't know. It's not my career, but it's just a job. And I would try to help out people when they needed to. You know, that means asking them, hey, do you need a hand with anything? If you see that, like for example, for my job, if you need to clean a table, if you see that a table needs to be cleared, just go right away, go do it. Maybe it's not even your job, but like, just help the person out with it, you know? Help where you can. And also dropping compliments as well. Like, that's how I've actually made a lot of friends, is just by saying, hey, I love how your hair is today, or where'd you get that top from? I love it, it's so cute. And that strikes up a conversation. If you're a guy watching this might be a bit harder. I guess, did you watch the game last night? Or, yo, you into that chick too? I'm kidding. Y'all can talk about what y'all want to talk about, but compliment is a compliment. People like having compliments, you know, and it makes you automatically warmer towards the other person who's saying it. So yeah, give out compliments where you can, okay? People like it, and help people out so they notice you and they see your heart and they see that, you know, you're this generous with your time or with your abilities. Then maybe you'll be generous in your friendship and be an awesome friend. So this is also applicable online. So online, you can comment something nice on someone's post. Like, I've started a lot of relationships this way, by just commenting something nice on girls' posts. And you know, people like when you comment nice things, and then you slide into their DMs later talking about something in their post, talking about something else you notice about them. They respond back, y'all talk about getting a drink, y'all go out for some shaved ice maybe, y'all bond. Instant friend. So yeah, be active on your social media. If you see someone and you like something about them and you want to be like, yo, I think we'd make good friends, message them. That's what social media enables us to do, right? Be more connected. So do it, connect. Link up with people. Lastly, for this, how to make friends, pray for friends. I know this sounds so crazy, and maybe if you're not Christian, you're like, what? Why would I pray for friends? I could just go out and get them. But you know what? God is sovereign over every single thing in this world, even your friendships. And so if you ask him to be in your friendships, if you ask him to draw people to you who are good for you, who will speak truth into your life, who will help you walk on this path of life, which can, be really hard and lonely road if you're alone, then ask him for it. And ask and you will receive. If it's something you need, God will always fill that need with something great, something beautiful. So let me tell you a story. When I first, last year, I was going through a point in my life where I was just like, I'm struggling with a bunch of things and I don't have any Christian sisters to go through this with me. And if you are Christian, even if you're not, you can kind of understand, like, when your life revolves around something, it's nice to have people who understand that and who can relate and who can just know you to the fullest extent and lift you up. I guess this would be similar to if I don't know what this would be similar to. I just love God. I don't know, nothing compares to God. So God is everything to me. And I wanted friends with similar interests. I wanted friends who understood that, who wanted to grow spiritually, who I could talk to about, like, my favorite Bible verses or what God was saying to me that week. I wanted that so much, and I felt so alone when I didn't have that community around me, especially when I was going through a lot of turmoil at my older church, where I just felt like no one was in it for the right reasons. No one was trying to pursue God as much as I wanted to, and I just felt like I couldn't grow. I felt really spiritually stumped there, and in that stumpedness, I felt so alone. So I prayed so hard for God to give me a Christian community. And so he led me to this church, and this church, at first I was kind of apprehensive because it was a big church. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna find Christian sisters here. It seems like too big. But you know what? I just joined the church, and the first day that I joined, the first week, a girl came up to me and was like, hey, are you Sarah? And she just made conversation with me, and from her, I don't want to drop her name, but I'm gonna text her later because I love her to death. She's amazing. But because of her, I decided to stay, and I decided to join the girls group and see what other people in that church were like. And you know what? Best decision to this day. I have become a part of my girls group in that church, and we meet weekly, and it's just the most wonderful thing I could ever have. We pray for each other, we cry with each other, we laugh with each other, we lift each other up. During the week, we'll message each other and be like, yo, what are you going through? What are some highlights of your week? And we really care about each other, and that's the coolest thing. And I remember just being so thankful. I'm always so thankful, actually. Like, each week that I see them, I'm like, wow, God came through so much. And it's not even that, like, that's at church, great. But even at school, I joined a Christian fellowship, and the first day that I walked into the girls group in that fellowship, we all shared, like, really deep stuff about our lives, and we just opened up in a way, because when you're with people who also have the Holy Spirit within them, there's already that kind of kinship, that strong bond between you, and the Holy Spirit was able to move in us so that we were able to open up, and it was just amazing. We all cried that day. We were all just like, y'all are the sisters I always needed. And so super, super happy for that. And so God, he just fills you so much if you just ask for it. So if you want friends, if you want deep, meaningful friends who care about you, who want to help you grow and go along with you in life, pray. Prayer does wonders. I tell you, I'm living proof. And now I've got so many friends, like Christian friends, I'm just like, God, this is amazing. Like, when I need support, so many people to turn to. He is a good, good father. So yeah, that's my little rant about that. Next topic, how to keep friends. So, okay, you got your friends, you found your group, y'all get along great, but how do you keep them? And say y'all have long distance relationships. So, like, a lot of my friends, go to university that's far away from me, and it's hard to keep those friendships because you don't see each other as often anymore. So how do you stay as close? So obviously, this is a predictable tip, but communicate as often as possible. So because of social media, right, we're able to slide into each other's DMs, we're able to text each other, we're able to iMessage and react to things like liking a message, Skype, you know, FaceTime, whatever. Just communicate, you know. If you haven't heard something from them, if you hadn't like heard a hello from them, you haven't talked to them in a while and you want to, don't be afraid to make that first move, okay? You don't have to, like, when you expect someone to always make the first move, they're not going to, chances are, and you're just going to be waiting for a long time and no one's going to end up talking to each other. So don't be afraid, make the first move. And the person who makes the first move never regrets it, because people will always respond and they're always happy to hear from you. Yeah. Make an effort to meet up, you know. You might say, oh, let's meet up, let's hang out sometime, but actually make plans to, you know. If you want to stay friends with them, you're gonna have to see their face. You want to hear what they have to say in person. You want to be able to embrace them and love on them in person, you know. So yeah, meet up with them. I try to be very intentional with meeting up with people, so I will put in my phone, in my calendar, the days when I have to meet up with someone, and I will make sure I try to obey them. Obviously, sometimes you're gonna have to dip because of reasons, but you know, let them know. Give them a heads up. Give them another time or date to meet up. So, yeah. Also, pray for them regularly. Again, prayer works wonders, man. When you pray for them, God is with them. God sees their pain. God sees their hurt. God sees their joys. And it's just, it connects you, you know? Like God, if God is the bond and God is the glue of your friendship, yo, that bond will never be broken. He is the rock eternal. So pray for your friends if you want to love them from afar or even close. Just pray all the time. Okay, and when you do see your friends, remember, ask them how they really are. Don't just scratch on the surface and just be like, how are you? Oh, you're good, that's good. I'm good. Like, no, get to the real meat of the conversation and be like, okay, what have you been struggling with? What, when was the last time you cried? What are some fears that you have? What are the happiest moments of your year? Things like that. Like, get into really deep conversations, because those deep conversations will hold you closer. And I find that with the friends that I do have that are far away, if I do meet up with them and we have deep conversations, that link, because you bonded so closely, it lasts for so much longer than if you just had like simple shallow conversation and then didn't see them for like a few months. Then you meet up and you're like, oh yeah, like what's going on? But like when you have deep conversations, you really want to meet up with that person again, and you really want to like ask them like how are they doing, maybe days after, you know, follow up with them because you got that connection going. So yeah, open up, be vulnerable, be very, very vulnerable. That's how you make good friends, by being vulnerable, and they then feel safe to be vulnerable with you. Yeah. Of boy-girl friendships. This is so annoying. You know, if you're mean to someone, how can you expect them to stay with you and stay friends with you if you're not treating them right? How to break up with a friend. Ooh, it's gonna be difficult. So like and subscribe for more of these kinds of videos, and leave me topics below as well as your thoughts about this subject, about friendship. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Goodbye.